gonna be in bloom up in Alabama.
Lynn Ertell, hello.
Hey.
I took a chance and hoped that your audio would be fine at the very first talk, and it's fine. Welcome to the show.
Was that Steely Dan?
Yeah, my old school. This is the live album from the University of California, Irvine, March 10th, 1974. Does it take you back, Lynn?
Well, yeah. I mean, they were huge in the 70s and the 80s, too, actually.
Yeah.
Of course, the one I like is I like to play the saxophone. I play just what I feel. I drink scotch whiskey all day long.
Deacon Blues.
And die behind the wheel. Or what's the other one? Mickey, don't lose that number. Is that they do that too? Mickey, don't lose that number. It's the only one you call.
It's got a great intro here. I'll play it a bit for you.
Yeah.
WFAK, Ricky, don't lose that number by Steely Dan.
We hear you're leaving, that's okay. I thought a little while.
All right, there you go. And one of them's alive and one of them is dead.
It's really, I always thought of it as like really jazz, a lot like jazz music, you know?
Jazz fusion. It was fusion. He fused some music together. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, David Johnson, Thriving McDonough. David John Irvington McDonough. Wow, that's a mouthful. I forgot to introduce the show. It's Thursday, April the 23rd, 2026. It's a Fakeologist show. This is where Lynn Ertell is on. She's on every Thursday. You either love Lynn or you hate Lynn, but either way, you're tuning in because she's here. And I guess the same goes for me too. Either love them or hate them, but you keep coming back. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for anyone that makes radio, appointment radio. They actually show up at the same time every night. That's pretty awesome. In this day and age, it's pretty awesome. Don't you think, Lynn?
You mean show up to listen live? Because
appointment radio. That's what I call it. This is nobody shows up for the same show every time unless
people can download the podcast and listen to it. Yeah,
there's no need to be here live except if you want to participate.
You want to participate and call in and put me on the spot. I love that.
Yeah, challenge Lynn. Lynn, have you been challenged on chemtrails or contrails, as I like to call them, in the past? Has anyone ever asked for your opinion on them?
I've had discussions with people about it, going all the way back to publication of the Pentagon's document in the mid-90s, owning the weather by 2020. It's called Weather as a Force Multiplier. Owning the weather by 2025. It was the Pentagon's document.
Yeah.
I guess to justify the huge budget they got for weather warfare. And at the time, Dennis Kucinich was in the Congress, said that weather warfare and what he called scalar weapons, which I think were considered like simulate an earthquake.
Yeah.
That these needed to be banned and outlawed. And he tendered legislation before the Congress, but I don't think it ever got off the ground. So, and then of course we had the Secretary of Defense William Cohen under George W. Bush, I guess.
He was under Clinton too, I think.
Oh, was he under Clinton?
Maybe. I don't know. I remember that guy. Yeah.
And he openly talked about scalar weapons and weather warfare.
Yeah, what happened to the scalar weapons? Did they turn into directed energy weapons?
Yeah, I suppose. Well, microwave, laser.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would include rail guns. Well,
can that make it rain or snow or hail or flood?
Well, they can do cloud seeding. I mean,
would that have washed out the hillbillies of Appalachia?
Well, in the late 90s, I paid very close attention to the war against Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Conducted by NATO under their supreme commander, General Wesley Clark.
Yeah.
And
I heard him the other day. He's getting old. Ooh.
yeah, he tried to run for president at one point.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, he wanted the Democratic nomination at
Tried
one
to be
point.
another Dwight D.
That's one way to put it. Or maybe Douglas MacArthur, because MacArthur tried to get the Republican nomination
Yeah,
at one point. But I always think that the word chemtrail was deliberately packaged.
It was seeded.
Because what do you mean? Of course, if it's exhaust, of course there's going to be chemicals in it. What do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah.
And the term that really should be seriously used is geoengineering.
Yeah.
Or bioengineering with sprayed nanoparticles.
Oh, by the way, that's one thing. You bring up nanoparticles, and I'm just interrupting while you say it, because James Lee did bring that up in his last talk with germ warfare. He said because of the nature of the turbines, I can't remember the name of the first turbine engine compared to the turbine engines on jets today, something about recycling like a turbo. He said now the particulate is nano because it's recirculated, whereas before it was a little larger. The particles were a little larger, a little coarser, more visible.
Well, nano would make it more dangerous, really.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah, it could. Yeah, it would be easier to get through different medium.
Yeah, if you look at the screen I'm sharing right now, under Maui fires. We remember the fires on Maui.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Better. Where I question, do we really care how they did it? Because arson is arson. And with respect to laser, microwave, or some similar modality, we'd have to prove claims about deployment of exotic or unconventional weapons, mostly classified weapons, right? I mean, we shouldn't even know about a lot of these technologies.
Claims require extraordinary evidence. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, drones were once classified too. They were called robot planes.
Yeah.
And I remember reading about these robot planes in 1979, 1980 on like page A40, all the way in the back, a small item in the New York Times, that the Israelis were using these robot planes in Lebanon for surveillance and also for targeting. So, my argument here is, and then of course we had the whole Judy Wood thing around 9/11.
Yeah.
So my argument here is that to prove murder by gunshot, you usually have to provide a weapon, the remains of a bullet that's been retrieved, and a linkage of the weapon to the alleged shooter. In the case of arson, which is to say the fires on Maui, similar fires at the Paradise Campground, and then also in Greenville, North Carolina. In the case of arson, you have to prove point of origin or multiple points of origin. And then I posted a counter narrative to the narrative of conventional arson from a BitChute video that Brian sent me. And I think he learned about this from Prophet of Fiction. I believe that's what he says. This is an extended interview, an hour-long interview with a botanist.
Yeah.
Who provides just I'll just go through it real quick. If you want to see, he's got mounds and mounds of, thanks, BitChute. You won't let me scan it, huh? Yeah, BitChute doesn't let you scan.
Okay.
See what I'm doing? I'm trying to fast forward, but they won't do it. Thanks, BitChute. Thanks for not letting me scan through this. Oh, here we go. He just has all kinds of photographs, including, strange phenomenon with cars, trees that were burned on one side but not the other, houses destroyed while the trees around them were preserved, indications of temperatures much, much higher than a normal wildfire, and a host of other things. So, if you want to take the time.
Sounds a lot like the Judy Wood
Well, no,
dead end toasted car.
this guy's he's a lot more well-grounded than Judy Wood, and he presents his material in a much more coherent and logical manner. I wouldn't compare this guy to Judy Wood. And this
Okay,
guy
so-
also sounds like he knows what he's talking about when it comes to
Mhm.
botany, which is to say, trees. He understands wildfires.
Okay.
So here's my argument, because this falls under the category of forensics. Because, well, yeah, we know they did it. We pretty much know why they did it. How
Uh-huh.
they did it? Well,
Yeah.
did they tow those toasted cars onto the street in Manhattan? Or did they tow all those cars that were burnt up in Maui? I really don't give a damn how they commit arson or controlled demolitions or fake shootings,
Yeah.
except to the minimal extent required to prove such a case to a judge or jury. So I leave the forensics to the subject matter experts. I'm not an expert on video compositing or video layering, video editing. I can spot a really obvious transparent fake,
Yeah.
but I can't dissect it the way someone with expertise can. If military grade, high tech, exotic weapons were deployed to selectively torch Maui, and of course,
Yeah.
I do think it was I do think they turned off the water, they cut off all cell phone communication. This was a plan to depopulate that area. Same thing with the LA fires. This was real estate development, and I think we could prove planning, just like we could prove planning around the COVID psyop.
Okay.
However, I want to emphasize that if military grade, high tech, exotic weapons were deployed, such as laser, microwave, directed energy, this guy in the video above, he thinks microwave weapons were deployed.
Okay.
But if that were the case, then that means military criminals are implicated, along with their superior and subordinate officers or enlisted personnel. That would have required Pentagon, Department of Defense approval. It would have had to be secured in order to use weapons like that. And that would be a clear case of prima facie treason and insurrection. So it's kind of a toss-up. How hard or easy is it to prove that the results we see are so unusual and so different from any ordinary wildfire? And that's what this guy argues. You have to sit through the video to look at his evidence, evidence, and you'd have to source and vet the videos and the photographs for authenticity. And then at that point, you'd have to explain, how did this happen? And then maybe you bring in some subject matter experts, and probably some of them would say that it's a national security secret and they can only testify in closed session or some stupid thing like that.
Yeah.
But you have to watch the video. And so I say the only reason to go to extra trouble to get after, to go after the idea of exotic, unconventional weapons would be to implicate the military brass directly in treason. And that would be worth the trouble to me. If you could come up with convincing enough evidence that they deployed weapons in one of these alleged wildfires, or in some of the other events that have occurred, even on 9/11, if some kind of weapons grade incendiaries or explosives were deployed, I know they had military. I'd like to know where the smoke machines came from. Were they out of Hollywood, or were they Pentagon smoke machines? If they were Pentagon smoke machines, that's treason. That's treason and insurrection. So my problem, of course, is I don't like mystifying plain old arson with woo-woo, with directed energy weapon woo, with the idea that, we got to make it mysterious. We got to bring in sci-fi, futuristic weapons that are classified, because that's how we're going to drum up interest and get people into this. No, that's not our purpose. Our purpose should be to prove criminal intent, that this was not an accident or a natural occurrence, but that it was a crime. It was arson. Of course, the selective torching of isolated trees or structures is easy enough to do with conventional weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It can be done from a helicopter, a plane, or a drone, from the back of a flatbed truck or a Toyota pickup. I want to show this video of a movie, a great movie, from 1975 called Rollerball, the original Rollerball, which is much better than the remake, I think.
Oh, we've done this.
I want to show it again.
Yeah, I remember this.
It's only a minute or two.
All right. The tree burning scene. What was the point of this again? Movie? Why was
they were at a party? It was after a party, 2 a.m.
Oh, okay.
The point of it, wanton destruction.
Oh,
Why do we do it? We do it because we can, because we're rich. Because we're the jet set. We have access to weapons like this.
Oh,
no. It's decadence. It's pure decadence. Incredible, yeah.
These are rich people blowing up trees. Okay.
Now, this movie was made in 1975. You think they don't have weapons that can do this?
Lighting up a tree on fire. Lighting in the tree. Maybe they sprayed the tree with an incendiary and then just needed a spark.
Well, yeah, you're thinking Hollywood movie staging.
No, I'm just saying if you were gonna do this little trick.
You don't think they have weapons that can you don't think a laser can be used to start a brush fire?
I don't know. Well,
in a dry wind.
Yeah. If it's dry, but not if it's.
Well, no, not anywhere. But if the conditions are right, of course.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, you could also just throw
you could drop it. Right, exactly. You could torch it from the air. You could just drop. Exactly.
Of course you could. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we get it.
So you don't need exotic weapons to do this. But if you can prove that military-grade ordnance was deployed,
yeah,
that would be of great value in these cases, because that elevates the whole case from merely racketeering, arson, or murder, if somebody gets killed, to outright treason and insurrection, which is, of course, what happened on 9/11. So if you can show that a small bomb was detonated to blow a hole in the wall of the Pentagon on 9/11, that's absolute treason. And you could arrest and court-martial all the military officers involved in that. So that's the only reason why I would go for, if someone really had credible evidence. Now, if you watch that BitChute video, which it was on BitChute because at the time it was made, it wasn't allowed to be on YouTube. YouTube was banning videos that suggested that the Maui fires were caused by some kind of exotic, directed energy weapon or laser or microwave. As I say, this guy thinks it was microwave. So, you're into the area of technology that we're not even supposed to know about. It completely speculative, say. Whereas the general issue is, we know that those were controlled demolitions on 9/11. We know the fires on Maui were planned and engineered because they turned off the water. The same thing with LA. Imagine you're in wildfire season and it's really dry, and something starts in your backyard and you go to turn on the water and nothing comes out. That's what happened to people on Maui and in LA and some of these other locations. They turned off the water and claimed they had to conserve it. Of course, the island of Maui is surrounded by water. LA is right there on the Pacific coast. You have an unlimited supply of water from the ocean to put out fires. There should never be a shortage of water for putting out fires on the coast of California or in Hawaii. That should never happen. It's not like you're in the middle of a desert.
That's right.
So,
they got pumps.
Yeah,
Something
you
called
don't
a pump.
need to prove that exotic weapons were used to prove that this was planned and in a conspiracy. And that's racketeering. And just like with the COVID, you could show the planning of every step. You could show how this was shut down, this was opened. Everything laws were passed in advance, apparently. I understand 6 months before the Maui fires, the governor of the island was already issuing executive orders
to
rezone the area for development. And basically, they're just trying to run those people out.
Absolutely.
So, it's how they do real estate development. I mean, think about the thousands of Baltimoreans who used to rely on that Key Bridge. And now they got to go all around the Baltimore Beltway.
Yeah.
But the ruling elites don't care if you're inconvenienced.
No, take the bus.
It takes you an extra hour to get to and from where they don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they're going to do. So I don't like distracting from the main issue. That's what the woo-woo stuff does. It says, oh, this must mean some mysterious kind of 0-point energy exists that John Hutchinson has discovered and blah, blah. We don't need oil anymore. Blah, blah. No,
right,
guys.
Yeah.
That's, you know what that's like? Just like you say. That's like conflating NASA hoax, NASA fakery.
And the shape of the earth.
Yeah. No, that's not what it's a sly, sneaky way of changing the subject.
Time 8 seconds.
Hey, Lynn, you got to call her in.
Completely different questions, right? And just destroying the whole argument.
Hey, caller in. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Hey, fakeologist. Hey, Lynn. It's Jason, Texas.
Hey, Corpus.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, Lynn. I have a news source I want you to ponder about. I talked to fakeologists about it when IPS was on, but it's the Times of Israel.
Oh yeah, I look at that regularly.
Yeah, Israel and Iran both to set the Russia-led free trade zone. What do you think about that as a sort of script narrative? It's
the Times of Israel is covering a new trade agreement between Israel and Russia.
No, Israel and Iran.
Oh, Israel and Iran.
Both set to join a Russian-led free trade zone, the Euro-Asian Economic Union.
That would kind of fit right into what Simon Dixon is talking about. That what we're really witnessing is a staged sort of fake conflict between what he calls the financial technical complex versus the old traditional military industrial complex. And he says go ahead, you explain it the way you understand it.
Yes, because in the article it's you're right, it's a fight between two powers. And in the article it's saying that Israel and Iran signed a framework that they're both going to join independently at their own time. And from what some people say Trump is going to do is try to take control over this, because this is like the China's Belt and Road. And then another narrative is he's probably there to pull America out and let us take care of our own hemisphere while they take care of their hemisphere.
Yeah, they call that the pivot away from Europe. And I guess that would mean what? abandoning NATO? Would that be part of it?
I guess, but I don't see how we would be able to keep the dollar's hegemony, right?
The dollar? Oh, they're going to bust the dollar.
Yeah,
First, they're
yeah.
going to hyperinflate it for as long as they can. You know.
Do, do you see them pulling out a like a Trump like a stable coin, or do you think
It
like my
already
theory?
is. According to Adam Curry, the stable coin already is going strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the stable coin is supposed to be
That's
the
the
reason called,
Treasury
like,
Department doing that, not the Fed.
You know what's really strange? These ideas like a Russian-sponsored free trade zone that would include both Iran and Israel, China's Belt and Road Initiative, or if you remember originally, the Russians and Chinese had something called the Shanghai Cooperation
yeah,
Organization. But Brendan O'Connell insists that these are basically Wall Street creations.
Mm-hmm.
He says that Wall Street came up with his structure for these, these they're supposed to be oriented toward Russia and China, but really, he says Wall Street came up with the design of these organizations. So it is monolithic. It's got to be monolithic because if it weren't monolithic, the Russians and Chinese would have denounced Artemis 2 as a sloppy, transparent fake job. But they didn't do that. So and also they denounced the nuke hoax. Of course, they're never going to do that. I mean, they've all got a chip in the game when it comes to the nuke hoax. Think about Iran. Neither Iran nor Israel is going to say, hey, this whole nuke thing is fake. Oh, no, they're going to play it up to the max. Oh, what a
yeah,
dangerous world we live in. And these nuclear weapons, they have to be controlled. We have to stop these rogue nations from having them. And the rogue nations will say, well, if Ukraine had kept their nukes, Russia wouldn't have invaded them. And nukes are the only deterrent we have against these superpowers. And they'll go on and on and on this way. India tested nukes and announced to the world. And then a couple years later, Pakistan said, now we got a nuke too. Could they ever possibly use those nukes on each other without killing some of their own population if the nukes really were as poisonous and
Or if they
toxic?
exist at all, which of course is just a
yeah,
mind. To me, it's a
yeah. If
mind
they
virus.
exist,
Yeah.
yeah. If they exist, using them in their theory, the way they say it, would make the place that they use them on uninhabitable.
All
yeah,
these governments are out to terrorize and psychologically manipulate, shake down, and emotionally blackmail their own populations. Just because here
Yep.
in the United States, it's so much more stupid than anywhere else, doesn't mean that they're not doing the same thing to their own populations. And here again, the COVID was the dead giveaway. They all fell in line behind the World Health Organization and Big Pharma to vaccinate their populations. Even when they insisted on using a vaccine of their own development, their own or origin, like the Iranians claim to have come up with their own vaccine, but they imposed
Yeah,
lockdowns, masking, vaccine mandates, just like everybody else. And we know they stopped the war in Gaza to fly in Doctors Without Borders to
yeah,
vaccinate the poor Palestinian kids. At the same time as Israel was pushing for a green pass, a card you'd have to
yeah.
carry that would show whether your boosters were up to date. So they're all in it
That's
together. If the Russians are offering both Iran and the Times of Israel is reporting this, is that right?
yeah, that Russia-led free trade zone, and there's only like 2 articles I found, and it's like I think it's like a Jerusalem Post and Times of Israel, and I don't see anybody talking about this. They don't I'm trying to tell other people on other shows, and they don't even believe it.
Well,
They think they wouldn't be in the same zone, like, because I guess Israel and Iran are not in the same zone, but it doesn't matter about where your country is. It's about the deals you sign, right? The alliances you sign, right?
Yeah, the agreement between a consortium of gangsters. If you remember the
Yeah.
Iran-Iraq war that went on for 10 years, and supposedly the United States was supplying logistical support and other things to Iraq to sustain their war effort, and at the same exact time, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, testified that we were covertly supplying Iran with spare parts, because remember, as late as 1979, when the Shah was overthrown, the Iranian military was all using, I guess, NATO issue rifles, airplanes.
All American. Yeah, all
Yeah,
American.
all American stuff. And so here they were, having been invaded by Saddam Hussein. They needed spare parts, and Oliver North negotiated a deal where I guess he sold, this was so-called arms for hostages. And they agreed to, and this probably was negotiated while Jimmy Carter was still president, under the rubric of something called October Surprise, where the William Casey and George Bush Sr., as part of the Ronald Reagan presidential campaign, negotiated with the Ayatollahs that they should hold on to the hostages from the embassy as long as possible. And the day after Jimmy Carter was defeated in that election, immediately the Iranians released all the hostages and they came home, which was a real big boost for the incoming Reagan administration and made Jimmy Carter look like a fool, look like a sap. And at the timing of it was so crazy, people said, what's going on here? But of course, what we later found out during Iran-Contra is that there were all kind of back channel arrangements between the Ayatollahs and the Reagan camp that involved supplying Iran with desperately needed spare parts for their planes, their tanks, their troops. And Ollie North said, when he was asked, what did you think about this idea of trading arms for hostages to the Iranians, and then taking the profit from that, the money from that, and using it to help fund the Contras trying to overthrow the Sandinista government in Nicaragua? And Ollie North said, oh, it was the Israelis that came up with the idea. The Israelis suggested it to us. And I said, wow, what a neat idea. So there's all kinds of back channel communication and understanding between the Ayatollahs over there in Iran, basically the Iranian military, I would think, the generals there. And, there's a famous video. I can't find this, but I know I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
When Tommy Franks was in Afghanistan hunting down Al-Qaeda, allegedly, we were allied with the Iranians. They were in Afghanistan providing intelligence and assistance in the United States effort to hunt down Al-Qaeda. And there is a newsreel or a video somewhere, I'm sure I've seen it, of Tommy Franks and an Iranian general, Soleimani, arm in arm, inspecting troops in Afghanistan, because Iran was allied with the United States in Afghanistan. That's because Al-Qaeda is a Sunni Muslim organization, and the Iranians are Shia Muslims, and there's no love lost between the Shia and the Sunni. But when I heard that Trump had ordered the assassination of General Soleimani, I looked it up and I said, oh my gosh, this is the same General Soleimani who was our friend and ally 20 years ago in Afghanistan. What the hell is going on? So, yeah, there's more to this. There's the pretense of conflict, but behind the scene, they're always negotiating. They're always dealing with each other. And, what is it? The Iranians say, well, we're going to target this location. You got 4 hours to evacuate your troops. Of course, if the troops don't evacuate, they might still survive the attack, but they would suffer concussion injuries. I'm told that the injury that troops suffer from the most is from the shock wave that can bust your eardrums or do brain damage when a drone hits. But how do we know? Do we know if they're saying that U.S. troops in the Gulf have been forced to vacate all of their bases and living quarters and are now operating out of hotels and private
Yeah, that's it.
residences, and that these bases have been destroyed? Well, I don't know.
But they've also said they've been hitting the hotels too.
I've heard that said as well. Yeah, but I don't know who to believe. There's so much AI slop out there. For me, it's impossible to know if any of these alleged bombings are real or not. I have no way of knowing unless I talk to somebody I trust who's actually in the middle of it or who's there, who sees it.
Hey, P-Trip, sorry to interrupt. P-Trip, call in if you want. You can come into the studio if you want to talk about nuclear weapons, fake nuclear weapons if you want. That's fine.
I mean, look, the Ayatollah Khomeini, who masterminded allegedly the overthrow of the Shah.
Yeah.
Where did he spend his years of exile?
Paris.
In Paris, of course, yeah. So, definitely there are arrangements there. We just don't know about it. And the one who really gets into this in detail is Brendan O'Connell.
Yeah.
He says, as far as he's concerned, the Israelis, the Americans, and the Iranians don't make a move without consulting each other. And they're all in on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that.
He says that he kind of agreed with the COVID virus too, though. But what do you think about this? I think Biden, reason why he came in is because Trump was doing so bad with the COVID virus, and he was saying that the vaccine was his, and a lot of people on the left were not going with it. And then once Biden came into office, they immediately switched their tone. And I don't know if you remember this during COVID, but in the first month, Trump was saying we should do what China was doing and quarantine the people who are infected.
Oh, Trump was a super fascist during the COVID thing. Trump was denouncing governors who refused to lock down their states. He went after DeSantis and condemned DeSantis. He condemned the governor of Georgia, Kemp, for calling off the lockdown and reopening Georgia too early. Oh, Trump was a real, and the thing is, people forget it was Trump that kicked off this massive inflation by pushing through this thing called the CARES Act and forking over millions of dollars to Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J through Operation Warp Speed. And yeah, you're right. Probably what happened was by 2020, they figured we can't sustain the COVID fear much longer with Trump because he's so hated and despised. Let's move Biden, then we can get another year or two of this. And they did. The first thing that the Biden administration did when they took office January 20th, 2021, was to reaffirm President Trump's original declaration of a state of national emergency due to a deadly global corona pandemic. And then the second thing that the Biden administration did was they canceled Trump's closure of the border with Mexico and opened it up, allowing between January and May of that year at least 1 million immigrants to come in the southern border unvetted, untested, presumably unvaxxed. And I remember when Fauci was asked about this by that Senate committee, I thought my head was going to explode. It was another one of those where you're watching it and you can't believe you're hearing it. You can't believe you're seeing it. Fauci was asked whether the Biden administration canceling Trump's border closure and basically inviting all these migrants to come in, these illegals to come in, whether that was going to have an impact on the COVID among the population. And Fauci said he had no opinion on that at all. It was a political question. And what was more important was to get everybody here vaccinated.
Oh boy, that's Fauci.
So, yeah, viruses don't cross borders. How about that?
Do you believe, though, that the Russians and the Iranians listen? Because I heard a theory, I don't know if you heard it too, that the Russians just lied and everybody, because like the Russian population is a lot different than ours, and they just lied and said, yeah, we did take it when they really didn't take it. Because there's a theory that the vaccine has something in there where you could be detected
Hold time.
on some type of
1
sensor.
minute.
Well, the Russians had a vaccine of their own called Sputnik 5.
Sputnik. Hold on, we
Yeah,
got
but
another
I
caller
think
in, or Jay. Hold on a sec. Maybe he wants to talk to you. Caller in, or where are you calling from? What's your name?
Brian in Washington. I want to talk to Jay.
I know you
air.
do. Go ahead. Talk to Jay on the air. I thought it was you, Brian. What are the chances you call in right after Jay?
Well, if people do look at the Maui, California BitChute,
Yeah.
in it, the lady says my boyfriend at the time gave me $100 to watch. What is it? Zeitgeist. And
Zeitgeist. I watched that thing. That's a terrible show.
Recommending to me to listen to it. Well, this lady
really?
on the BitChute said that she was sick for 2 days afterwards. So if
I really didn't like her at all because she's going on and on and on about how occupied territory. She doesn't recognize the statehood of Hawaii.
Oh, whose state is it?
It's another one of these. Like in Canada, you got the whole First Nations thing.
Yeah, so we got the first first Polynesians.
Yeah, whatever. And she ends up with some new agey type,
new age BS
crap. The usual shit.
Since PTL was in the chat, I have to continue and say that the Venus Project, Jacques Fresco, is also mentioned in this 2-hour documentary that Jay was recommending. If I would listen to, then I would quit being concerned about communitarianism.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, Jacques Fresco and the Venus Project. This is woo-woo land, and I am, completely opposed, and that's why I keep promoting this Utopia movie on Omeletto as a way to combat people like Jay.
Jay, have you watched that Omeletto movie? What's it called again? Utopia?
Yes.
No, but I understand where Brian's coming from, but I don't look at it in that type of way. The way I look at it is we're meant to progress as humans. That's what separates us from animals.
Yeah.
Because ants, beavers, wasps, they still build their houses and structures the same way that they did 1 million years ago. We advance. And the reason why I believe technology is supposed to make us free, because it's just like, you can look at the car, for example. We don't use horses anymore, right? But that doesn't mean horses are extinct. In fact, there are actually more laws now to take care of a horse. You can't just throw it on the side of the road if it's lame.
Can't just shoot it.
I mean?
Yeah.
And
good point, Jay.
It's the same thing with the light bulb and the candle. Instead of having the light off 4 corners of your room, you could just flip a switch, and there's the light that lights up everything. But we still use candles in just different ways, decorative, for incense. And that's the way I look at this technology. It's supposed to free us from redundancy, and that's what I think when Jesus talks about my people die of lack of knowledge. I think the lack of knowledge is the redundancy that we have to get rid of.
Yeah, historians call that combined and uneven development. So you'll see advanced technology existing alongside of sometimes a cultural effort to preserve certain what we would think of as primitive traditions. alongside of high tech. So they can coexist, of course. But what you're saying is, this comes into the simulation argument, because you're right. Why would you preserve horses? Well, we've had horse racing for centuries upon centuries, right? Still pretty much the same format. We have dog racing, but there I think the rabbit is a machine. Is that right? It's not a real rabbit. It's a machine.
Yeah, but those are leisure things that we can do without making those like we could, you know what I'm saying? Those animals are free to do something leisurely for us.
But it's kind of like a simulation, isn't it? Because in earlier times, they actually had real, the hunt, and they went out, and they hunted these creatures. And in a way, it is a simulation of sorts. We're preserving these things.
Hey, by the way, PTL Media says Peter Joseph is a joke. Good one, PTL Media.
Is he the producer of Zeitgeist?
That was Zeitgeist. You got it. And I backed off the mic a bit if I was coming in too hot.
All right. Well, it's a hot show tonight.
Yeah.
I'm trying to encourage Jay. I looked at your 2-hour film, Will Work for Free, 15 minutes of your time, and we could take this up again. We're supposed to be discussing and having a dialogue of different opinions on this technology, and I think it's our only hope. So please do that. Brendan O'Connell's name was brought up. I will just mention that Brendan and Jorge Malik live in Mexico. And Malik, Geopolitics and Empire on Substack, had Brendan on. They're both down in Mexico and political analysts. And during the broadcast, they were talking about Tucker Carlson, and Brendan says, Tucker is a communitarian. I did the video. So,
are you a fan of Brendan, Brian?
Well, Lark in Texas and I have a huge amount of effort at getting his candy ass up to the point where he was not wallowing in the pig wallop. He got a huge amount of our time.
Is that a yes or a no?
I have a huge problem. I mean, Lynn was talking about the woman in this movie, and she's ready to find your higher power. I don't like religiosity being told, as the solution. It's kind of you do your own thing in that spirit world until you can show me God. Then I might consider having a huge amount of time invested in this. I just want to get off the phone because I get accused of hogging, and I will take a few minutes.
What's the name of that YouTube video again? It's called Utopia, because there's a TV show called that as well.
Yeah. Amuleto, you said you've seen several of their...
Amuleto, yeah, I used to watch it all the time. My wife hates it.
They're animated.
Oh, here it is. No, I found it. Okay. I'll put it in the show notes for you, Brian, because that's the kind of guy I am. So Jay can watch it. Jay, just go to the show notes at Fakeologist, FAK1257 with Lynn Ertell. Underneath the burning tree, I put Utopia Amuleto movie. And you guys can all watch that. Have you watched that, Lynn?
Yeah, I've watched some of them. Yeah.
No, Amuleto.
That particular one is about total surveillance. Yeah.
Yeah, Amuleto's a YouTube channel with shorts. So I've watched this. I think I've watched it randomly, but it's pretty good. It's just about the future.
Yeah, futuristic.
The dystopic future. I get it.
I want to mention about Brendan O'Connell.
Yeah.
He was arrested in Australia for, for sympathy with the Palestinians or something. I don't know what the charges were.
It was the original race hate laws he was arrested for.
And he was really locked up there, right?
Really?
That's what he says, yeah. Yeah,
and
apparently he made fun of somebody and they charged him on that.
You got any proof of that?
And also Brendan O'Connell lived in Iran. I think he might have married an Iranian woman, or I'm not sure what or
An
maybe they
Iranian
offered him an
woman, a
Iranian
Persian
woman.
woman, maybe.
What?
They
Well,
don't call themselves Iranian. Trust me.
Iranians.
They don't call
Lynn,
themselves that. They call Persians, or they have different
Yeah,
tribes.
I've heard them called Iran.
No, I'm saying they
Iran.
don't call themselves Iranian. The
No,
ones
Lynn,
that,
he said-
some of the ones you know that are around the Pahlavis, they call themselves Persians,
yeah.
but not all Iranians think that way, because not all
Lynn,
Iranians
No,
want to
they're
restore
different.
the
They're
royal
different
family.
tribes there.
Well, pertinent
Right.
to what we're discussing, Brendan said someone took him aside, a high-level person, and they're offering him coke and hookers, and
Hookers and blow.
Brendan, quit with this. We're going to get the stands. And that's when Brendan realized, holy crap, I'm in prison for talking about a little tiny Israeli country and their control over the United States, but I've gone to Iran. They're offering me a job as a news broadcaster on the street. They're all in on it. Israel and Iran. It's just like Lynn was just.
I'm agreeing with you,
touching.
Brian. Of course, they're all in on it. Of course.
Well,
And
it'd be nice
it couldn't be more obvious with this Strait of Hormuz crap.
if we could get Brendan O'Connell. It would be nice to interview him and ask him about why he was locked up in Australia, what that was about, and also his experience.
Well,
going on.
Ali
did you see
Bongo
the
says
video?
he's another prison faker, and
How
PTO
would you
Media
know
is
that?
saying no, he doesn't
How would you
want.
know that?
He doesn't want to talk about him.
No, but Lynn, did you see the video of him? He went to a Palestinian rally, and then he saw somebody who said he basically what Brandon says. I guess the guy used to be an IDF soldier or was an Israeli, and Brandon called him. He said that you are your country is baby killers. The guy said that was an offense to him, and he was charged, one of the first people to be charged under these race hate laws, and that's
For calling the IDF baby killers.
Yes, and
there was
that's
some
why here.
swinging.
Yes.
There was some swinging of hands. A camera got. So then we go into assault, battery. They trumped up all this stuff, but yeah, Brendan realized all these officials in Australia. They're all in on it and afraid to do anything. If he could find a politician and somebody important, they don't have the huevos to go up against that Israeli power worldwide. Sorry to break it to you, Tim. They are very powerful.
So you're breaking. What are you breaking to me that you're sorry about?
You think that this whole Jewish race religion doesn't have the power that people are afraid of, and we should all just embrace.
I didn't say we should embrace it.
Well, and chase the Jesuits.
I didn't say we should chase the Jesuits. I just am introducing another idea that what's popular isn't always the right thing.
Yeah, but Brian,
that's all.
you know, they're just using the religion as a crutch, right? They're not even really religious, right? None of the people who are doing this are religious.
You mean they're not the chosen people?
Like Brian, like this is all like when they always say Jews and this, I think that's a cop out to make us basically fall in line of what they want us to do, what you call them Zionists, Jesuits, or whatever. Because if you attack the label that they say that they are, then it just validates them the way Phil says. Even though he goes a different way around it, he says they're trying to make you say they're doing something that they're trying to get. You know what? Like trying to false interpretation something, make them look like the victims. When Brandon said you just need to talk about it, you just need to talk, because he was talking about the biggest threat to Netanyahu and like anybody who wants to talk to each other, and he said it was the SJWs. That's why they made Trump, Netanyahu, and Trump brought Trump out to attack anybody who wanted to talk about, why are we doing this in Gaza and everything. And apparently that's his whole thing about the Princess Diana death.
Diana?
Like she was going to go to Palestine and go hold those kids, and the Israelis couldn't have that. So that's why she was dead.
Well, Lady Di was.
Oh, that was another hoax. Come on. Come on, Jay.
Yeah, but but that's what he says. But
who said that?
Brandon said
Oh,
that's why I'm kind of iffy
I don't
about
want to. I
him.
don't want to do it. I don't want to talk anymore about Brandon. That's just another controlled
that's why it's
opposition.
kind of iffy.
Not iffy. It's
kinda
beyond iffy. No, I don't want to talk
Baltimore-
about. Let's move on to somebody else.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What? Why
We
do
only
you
got-
say we shouldn't?
I don't want to talk about him. We only got 5 more minutes, so let's wrap it up.
But yeah, that's what I was
Bill
saying.
and
Like the Jewish narrative, we shouldn't be saying that. We shouldn't be saying that.
No, I know. I
Bill
don't.
and
No,
the-
I don't care about that. I just don't want to talk about Brandon O'Connor anymore.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay,
because we only got
fill in
5
the
more
blank.
minutes left.
Fill in the blank. What is the thing on the world that has caused more death, suffering, and destruction battling over? And it's exactly what Jay is recommending we all get some of. I'm not down with this due to my history of looking at this and dealing with it personally, and go back in time, crusading around, and let's go off and kill everything on the North and South American continent in the name of. It just makes me gag. I'm off the phone now. Appreciate all the time, Tim.
Thank
Talk to
you,
soon.
Brian. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know either.
You
'cause
don't
I don't
either?
believe in
Do you
that.
know what
I
he's
don't
talking about,
believe in
Lynn?
that.
Because he already hung up on him because we got to get going.
Not really.
No, I
No.
would-
You don't
like I
either.
said-
Brian speaks
like I
in
said,
code sometimes, I think.
Here's
I mean, that's the proof of it. Should be the proof of the Lord to him. I mean, only he could come up with what he thinks about.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Brian is
You
one
know-
of a kind.
I'm
Uh,
sharing.
But that's what I was saying. I just saw that video, that documentary, and it was in 2013. I was like, wow, the technology looks like it's going to make everything much easier, because I'm pretty sure Brian likes the refrigerator, the car, the microwave, as long as he controls it. And that's what I was trying to get to him. It's who controls the technology. If you're free to control it, then there should be no problems. It's like nobody has somebody telling him when to turn on his light, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jay. Well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank y'all. I appreciate for y'all keeping me on and taking my questions and everything. You're an awesome show.
Thanks, Jay. You're the best, too. Take care. There goes Jay from Texas. Lynn, we didn't really get. Do you want to talk about one of your topics before we run away? Because we really got sidetracked tonight.
There's a massive scandal going on in Baltimore right now where they discovered that most of the students never show up for school, or they show up the first day.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
the way
know
the
what?
corrupt, rotten school system gets around that is they only take attendance once a year, and that's the first.
What school level is that you're talking about?
The entire the public schools, principally high schools, is what they're
Oh, high
looking at.
school. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
It's a mess. It's a mess, and
Well, they did that for the immigrant schools here.
but the idea here is they take attendance once, and then they get money.
Yeah.
They get a budget for that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And right, and then they call them ghost students, because that's it. After the first,
They get paid by the student and the school board?
no, I don't know if the student gets the. I don't know if the students get paid. Maybe not. Probably not. But the idea is that the administration only takes attendance once a year. Once a year at the very beginning. So all the kids that stop coming and drop out they're not even there yet. The school system is getting all that money. It's crazy. It's the where you see fake becomes fraud, right? The hoax becomes fraud for a lot of money. And so it sustains corruption. And so I have a whole thread on that. And then also I want, because we were talking about Iran, I want to point out that I've posted a link. I posted a thread. I guess this would be under the.
I'm looking at your screen if you're sharing it.
Yeah, is Iran a Zionist pawn? Right. I always post what I call counter narratives to the dominant narrative.
That's good.
This is a Kuwaiti researcher who claims that Iran is an arm of Zionist Freemasonry and that Hamas was created by the Israeli Mossad. And I think she's probably right. If you want to watch this, it's on YouTube.
إيران.
نعم، أحد أذرع الماسونية الصهيونية،
That looks like
والهدف هو هدف
you know what that
الأكبر
looks
في
like?
ذلك.
Tammy
في دليل
Faye.
No, everybody
Yeah,
looks
you
like
remember
Tammy Faye to
Tammy
you.
Faye? No, that looks
Anyone
like
with heavy makeup looks like Tammy Faye to you.
no, that's a Tammy Faye lookalike right there.
Tammy Faye was a lot whiter than that.
Okay.
But anyway, she makes the case that he asks for proof, and she talks about Zionist Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
الماسونية الصهيونية إيران وإسرائيل.
So, if you're interested in counter narratives that go against the grain, the so-called mainstream media narrative, I've posted links to this, and Brendan O'Connell's in here as well, discussing where he thinks there's open collusion between the Zionists and Iran, and that the whole idea is they're moving toward what he calls a multipolar world.
Okay.
Where the appearance of U.S. power will be deprecated and will withdraw to the Western Hemisphere. And I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen that way or not.
I really I don't think I think this is Britain versus the U.S. like the Promethean women say. I don't think Iran has anything going on right now. That's my take.
Well, are they? I guess the question, see, they're playing a waiting game, because the longer they can keep this thing going in the Straits of Hormuz, the greater damage is done to the global economy.
Oh, this is a rebalancing. This is just a reset of the whole energy economy.
And
I
then-
don't. That's
People in
collateral
India who
damage.
can't afford cooking oil are going to blame America for this. That's
Yeah,
the whole idea.
I guess that's just what's going to have to be, because I think they really are resetting the whole oil market for sure, and for many reasons. But the main reason, I think, is to get people that are using oil to switch to natural gas. There are many countries that are using a lot of oil.
We
And
talked about shock pricing last
Yeah.
week, right? Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
really
what it
think
is,
then they can't end this so-called war, because they need to keep the price at a certain level, and it wasn't at a sustainable level. I hate to use the word sustainable, but they couldn't have oil sitting at $60 for the next 5 years. It needs to be where it is, at least. I would say it needs to be at $80. So, but they're happy that it's one. I think tonight it's at. Let me just do a quick price check here. Tonight it's at. Let's see. Oil is at, what is it at?
Yesterday it was like 95 a barrel.
97 tonight. $97 US a barrel.
It has reached 118 so far, right? Has it got up to 120 yet?
I have to look. I have to look at all the contracts just changed over
You
to
got to know
June.
the insider trading and the whole casino aspect of this, the derivatives that are being bet on this, or people are really cashing in. So,
And people are really losing. It goes both ways. There's lots of people. It takes two sides to bet, Lynn. So,
well, if you happen to work at the White House, you're probably coming out
well,
on top.
maybe, but the market is very smart. I don't think anyone is getting super rich, but you never know. Trump has not been ashamed to say or capitalize on the White House, that job, and and people don't seem to mind, really.
Well, as I said, the day that they claimed that this war started, February 28th, they could have immediately banned any export of United States oil and natural gas and kept it here to keep the price down. They could have done that.
Well, then they would be subsidizing it for the United States and breaking the whole spirit of the worldwide market. They can't do that. You cannot do anything, because countries are integrated now. That's part of being in a world trade zone. You can't just say, "Oh, we're going to keep," because everyone will do it. Mexico will do it, and the whole cartel will fall apart. Anyway, Well, Lynn, that was a good show tonight. I appreciate you coming by. We're going to play a little bit of Steely Dan on the way out. Why not? I'm sorry I didn't play your opening show tonight, your opening sound effect. I just got a little bored of that. So sometimes we like to mix it up just a bit. And thanks to Brian for calling in. Thanks to Jay for calling in. And thanks for everyone for tuning in. And Johnny Cerrucci, one of his listeners, I believe, wanted him to debate this guy who thinks
Drake Shelton?
No, there's another guy named Damon. What's his name? He's another the Jews did it to everybody kind of guy.
You know, I posted a link
Mhm.
in a thread on the
Forums?
book. I don't know how recently this was published by Lauren Guyonneau called "The Papal Curse: How the Church of Rome Betrayed Europe."
Oh, right. He was okay. I know that guy. I think
Yeah,
he's the
Guyonneau,
guy.
yeah.
He was on Germ.
Right, I listened to both of those. The
Did you like
commercials were
that?
really annoying, weren't they?
I didn't hear any commercials.
Oh yeah, it was full of commercials, and the version I listened to was full of commercials. I
I
had to
listened to
fast
the
forward through them.
podcast. Did you listen to the podcast or the YouTube?
The podcast.
Okay, I didn't get any commercials, so I don't get any commercials on
That is
whatever feed
really
I'm on.
strange. I got a commercial every 10 minutes. I had to fast forward through it.
Okay, well that was really good. I'd like to get that guy on because some really interesting, if you like religious history, kind of interesting.
Well, he sees Christianity as part of Judaism's evolutionary group survival strategy in accordance with the model of
Yeah.
Professor Kevin McDonald. And both of them
Oh.
are Darwinians, so I don't know how people will go for that, but
Okay, so yeah, Kevin McDonald. I've heard that name as well. I can't remember
he's
what
very
he got in trouble.
influential. They published something called the Occidental Observer, which is in a more upscale scholar, although they are really stupid when it comes to fakeology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kevin McDonald, he has no comprehension of fake events. He probably thinks that ragheads armed with box cutters hijacked planes on 9/11. He probably
Oh, really?
believes that. Yeah, it's very
Oh,
sad.
okay.
It's very sad when you see intellectuals wedded to stupidity, but it's that normalcy bias. They just can't get past it, and that's a problem with intellectuals like Kevin McDonald.
Well,
So,
they can they see fakeology? Would that ruin their career? I guess is the question.
well, that's
Is
another
that
thing
the
too.
kryptonite that would melt them and make
They'd
them
have to rework. Yeah, they'd have to rework a lot of the history that buttresses their model for society. So, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a huge problem.
But of
Yeah.
course, they're militantly committed to Darwin,
Mhm.
natural selection, and the survival of the fittest, and all that. So, you'll never shake them from that. Like Fetzer believes in that too. So,
Oh, right, Fetzer, yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna
Kevin McDonald probably thinks we walked on the moon.
yeah.
Although I have heard that Guyonneau does not believe that. So I don't want to judge him prematurely. I want to research that and see. I've heard that Laurent Guyonneau thinks that Apollo was faked. If he believes that would be very good. That would be a real step forward for these people. But I'll have to investigate that.
You know his website? He has a Substack. It's a funny name.
Yeah, it's called I can't remember the name of it, but
It's some really
I've subscribed to his Substack and started reading a lot of his
because we
material.
shouldn't talk about anyone without giving people a reference so they can look it up themselves.
Well, if you just look for his Laurent, Laurent, Guyonneau, Guyenot. It's French.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a
he's-
French guy. I sometimes find the French accents kind of hard to navigate.
Yeah, apparently his material is available in English translation, so you don't have to read French to be able to look over his research.
PhD in medieval studies, specializing in the history of Israel and the JQ. Does that make him toxic?
Well, He's an expert on late antiquity, so
No, I know, but the JQ is a third rail topic. I was just curious if
you mean we don't get into the JQ? Of course we get into the JQ.
no, I'm just saying in general, the JQ is sort of code for
Well, come on over to Kevin McDonald has published A People That Shall Dwell Apart, Separation and Its Discontents, The Culture of Critique.
ooh, the 9/11 triple cross. So he takes on all these different topics. Does he think Kennedy was killed? Does he think that the Saudis did 9/11? Because in this book, I wonder.
Which book?
He has one called the 9/11 triple cross.
Oh, do you know?
Yes, I'm looking at his website right now.
I'll have to look into it and we'll see.
We
Yeah,
we could ask a bot real quick.
I wonder
and
when it
see-
was published. How soon after 9/11 was it published?
We could look into that real quick and just see, because that would be interesting.
Yeah, is Guya what kind of 9/11 truther is he? We'd like to know.
Triple cross by Laurent. How do you spell his last name?
Guyenot.
What?
Does he recognize the controlled demolitions? That's a good place to start, you know.
I'll just ask what the thesis of the book is. That'll the précis. I guess I could ask. Let's see. It's a multi-layered covert operation in which Islamist patsies, U.S. neoconservatives, and Israeli intelligence each play distinct roles, with Israel and its U.S. allies as primary strategic beneficiaries.
Okay.
It was used to demonize Muslims. Okay. Justify the global war on terror. Right. Okay. Let me just see. This is all sort
So
of
he's dealing mostly with agendas. He's not getting into the operational details, is he?
No, I think he just basically is the alternative story. Let me see. Does he think people died in the towers?
Well, of course he probably thinks people died.
Well, if they think that. Okay, from available interviews in his documentaries, Guilleneau does not deny that people actually died in the Twin Towers. His argument focuses on who caused the destruction and how, not on claiming the deaths were faked.
Well, he would have to concede a controlled demolition in that case.
So he attributes it to controlled demolition or explosives. And
but he thinks the patsies were real hijackers.
Let me just ask, does he think there were planes used to hit the buildings? I mean, we may as well use AI or the bots to expedite our investigation of them.
Yeah, that's how I used it.
Because it's easier to dismiss these people.
Well, that's not quite.
Work, he says there were no real airlines. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Oh, well, now we're getting somewhere.
The television impact footage was faked or ghost planes.
Oh, very good, very good. So how about that? I don't think Kevin McDonald thinks that.
Yeah. He says they're virtual images.
Wow, that's very good, isn't it? That is really very advanced.
So his documentary is called 9/11 and Israel's Great Game.
Right, he's looking at it strategically, of course, as part of the Greater Israel Project. Yeah.
Okay, other 9/11 researchers criticizing Guilleneau describe him as someone who now believes all the films showing the planes crashing are fake. The planes are fake. Even the people who claim to have seen them could be crisis actors.
He belongs over at Clues Forum.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, we have to get him on then, because that's our
Extend a very humble invitation. After all, he's probably got a bunch of PhDs and all that, but extend.
I got a PhD in fakeology, and so do you.
Extend an invitation to him, a formal invitation that we'd love to hear a summary of his views on. This latest piece he published in Occidental Observer argues that, in fact, the origins of Christianity, that really only two religions were allowed to exist Christianity and Judaism. He argues that the church went out of its way to make Jews a protected class
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Christian society,
Yeah.
while they hunted down pagans, and murdered and marginalized pagans. They basically allowed Jews to kind of operate in a certain reserved territory, to practice usury and to have their own courts and maintain their own religion. And he gets into this whole question of what is the role of the Old Testament, and he seems to think that Christianity is much more Jewish than most people want to admit, and that would put him in the same camp with Nietzsche. Nietzsche thought
Okay.
that Christianity was a slave ideology invented by Jews as their revenge against Rome for having, been defeated so badly by Rome and their temple destroyed. So the Jews created Christianity to stir up the slaves and the women and the underclasses of Roman society, and weaken Roman society,
Yeah.
and prepare it for collapse. And I think would probably agree with that to some extent. So I don't know if he's if he's really a follower of Nietzsche, but they're very similar
It
ideas.
says here he clearly separates the no real planes idea from the question of deaths in the towers. He argues there were no real passenger jets, but he still maintains that thousands of real people died in the World Trade Center through an explosive driven demolition. Interesting.
Well, so he's saying they didn't evacuate the buildings, but that they killed people that were in there. Of course, we know the buildings were mostly empty, although
So
Windows on the World, that
So this is
restaurant.
his model. So his model is fake flights and passengers for the media story, but a real attack on fully occupied towers using pre-planted explosives, producing real mass casualties in New York. That's how he tries to reconcile no planes with the obvious fact that many people in and around the towers were killed.
Wow, he's got a foot in both camps. What does he say about the Pentagon, though? The Pentagon hit. Does he say anything about that? I want to look that up and see what he says about that.
In the ghost planes section of 9/11 and Israel's Great Game, he argues that none of the alleged hijacked airliners ended up at the towers, the Pentagon, or Shanksville. Instead, he claims the flights and many passengers were faked in databases, and the plane images were composited onto real explosions in the towers.
Very
So
good. That's what Gerard Holmgren thought.
Yeah, he thinks there were real explosions that were shown on the tower in the towers.
Of course, if that were true, that would make the perpetrators guilty of mass murder, wouldn't it?
So this is his video here.
Well, and that would make them mass murder.
For some reason, I think
That's the Not A film we're looking at there.
Yeah, this is his thing here.
That's the first hit, the alleged first hit.
Yeah, this is 31,000 views. Is his website or YouTube channel called Zionist Onslaught. So
I like the idea that he's calling out that he's a no-planer. I like that.
Yeah.
He's a no-planer.
So he thinks that Israel is the tail wagging the American dog, I guess. I guess that's really...
He probably has a more nuanced view of it than that. I mean, I'm sure he's thinking about Wall Street bankers and Zionists at the international Jewry. International Zionism, I think, is what he's looking at. More so than Israel per se.
Yeah.
People like Larry Fink.
Did anyone watch this?
I haven't watched it yet.
9/11 and Israel's Great Game?
I think I will watch it, though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's part of our research. I guess we have to. I'll put it in the show notes.
I would extend him an invitation and say, we'd like to convince you that nobody died in the towers.
Well, why not? We like to introduce you to further research.
And I know what he would say. He would say they're perfectly willing to kill people if they have to.
Yeah, that's a common thing. Like the Trump thing, the Trump shooting was fake, but there's the mainstream media guy podcast I was listening to. They don't have any problem killing people. That's what they say. That's what people.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
They just kill people. It's just collateral damage.
A lot of people think that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people for good reason, of course.
Yeah, I guess so, because we had proof that the guy had his fire jacket there, and no one was wearing it. And
Well, yeah, that
they
right.
spelled his name wrong, but I guess he didn't care.
Yeah, they spelled his name wrong on the jacket, and the widow is grinning ear to
Yeah.
ear. That's another case where when you look at the post-event performances by the crisis actors, they show it to be a hoax. They really do. That widow grinning ear to ear, 2 thumbs up for Trump, and oh yeah, that makes it look so
I like the
fake.
comments. Google is censoring this. I had to use DuckDuckGo to find it. DuckDuckGo uses Google search engine.
But it may not censor as much.
Okay, I just think DuckDuckGo is Google. I don't know why people think that's an alternative.
Well, Google will get results and then it will filter the results. He's saying DuckDuckGo does not filter the results as much.
Yeah, I get, but come on, that's all. Look, his video wouldn't be on YouTube if they didn't want you to see it. Let's put it that way.
They're allowing it to be seen. Yeah, there probably was a time when it would have been. Remember now, back in 2016, a lot of this stuff was being sent. They were killing channels.
Yeah, for sure.
For this stuff, YouTube has gotten very liberal lately.
Well, when it doesn't matter, I think they back off. The COVID thing, it doesn't matter now. It's over. Everyone is set in their beliefs. They can just let it go because it's a done debate. They got what they wanted. They've got enough people on board, and they can let it go. And on to the next one.
I think they're trying to hold on to their audience. Myself, they've got to hold on to their audience.
I think they own video on the internet now. I think they have a very established clientele. I don't think they have to worry. Well, who else is there? Nobody comes close to YouTube now. They own the market. I think the latest excuse is that they say if you're using AI, then they'll kick you off. Now, and they kicked Tim Osmond, demonetized him, or screwed up one of his channels. So, same with Johnny Cerrucci, by the way. They said he used AI, and they're starting to screw him up. So just when you think YouTube is safe, here we go again. They're starting to strike channels for different reasons. So that is why we have FAK12. FAK12 is our web platform. I know it's not quite as good as YouTube, but the beauty is when I spend all this time uploading these thousands of videos, they stay there. There's no one that can take them down except you.
So it's a stable platform.
It's a stable platform. It's my platform. I pay for it. You help pay for it, everybody. Everyone that when you make a donation, I convert it to Bitcoin and send it to the author of YouTube, and he also leases the web space to me because it uses terabytes worth of space. That's why it's only my stuff here, because I can't pay for other people's videos. Sorry. I mean, this is a real cost, by the way, of video storage. If anyone was curious how much it costs to run YouTube, we're talking billions of dollars. That's why it's owned by the $1 trillion Alphabet / Google. So it costs a lot of money.
You know, in the real world, in a non-fake world, they would never have allowed the merger of Google with YouTube. Never. It would have violated antitrust laws, of course.
Well, maybe not. The point is that anyone can make their own video platform. It's just,
what do you mean? You allow the world's leading search engine to merge with the leading video platform? That's ridiculous. That's the very definition of restraint of trade. And
I know what you're saying, but yeah, I think they gave up busting monopolies and oligopolies a long time ago. But there are other video platforms. We have one. It's just the question of who comes to the different websites anymore. People like what's easy and fast and free.
It's very revealing that Trump put all this money into his own social media network, Truth Social, and nobody really pays much attention to it.
That's not true, because he releases all his information on his own site.
It does, and then people pay attention to the crap that he puts out there, but nobody uses.
I agree.
His platform as a social, for communication.
I agree. I agree with you on that. And nobody uses Blue Sky either. All the lefties left X when Elon took over. Do you use Blue Sky? I don't.
No,
I don't. So I'm still on X a little bit. but I still use old blogging software. But people don't even know how to type in a website in their phone anymore. They have no idea. There's a whole generation that just thinks the internet is
and listen,
Instagram.
I encounter people that walk around with these expensive handheld devices, the best handheld device you can get, the iPhone, the Android, whatever, and they don't even know how to do a Google search, a simple search. I'll say, "Why don't you do a search?" "Well, how do I do that?"
Well, what's a website?
Yeah, exactly. They don't have any
What's a
concept.
forum?
And this is what really bothers me. A handheld mobile device
Mm.
is not a computer unless you know how to use it like a computer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's nothing but a plastic slab that they're using to program the user. The user only sees what shows up on his screen, scrolls through it, never thinks to search for something else, downloads whatever application the cloud suggests. I mean, it's really pathetic to think about that these little slabs are making people more ignorant than they would have been otherwise. In the old days, people actually got computers.
Yeah.
They got laptop computers and desktop computers.
I
and
still like my
they did
desktop.
searches and they blogged and no, that's not what these handheld devices are about. They're for programming the user and controlling monitoring and controlling and directing the behavior and consumption habits of the owner.
By the way,
really.
Jay Wind, if you want here, this is kind of funny. Your name is Jay Wind. You said Rumble seems better than YouTube for downloading. Okay, there is an app for your Windows computer or probably your Mac computer. It's called, guess what? J Downloader. J Downloader. You can download from any website pretty much, including YouTube. All you need is the link, and you pump it into J Downloader. It's fantastic.
J Downloader. This is a
It's
utility.
utility.
Is that right?
It's called J Downloader. J, the letter J, Downloader.
Right. I'm going to check that out.
And I'll give you one more. J Down. I use a bunch.
I see it here. Yeah, jdownloader.org.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time, and they still update it. It's a little tricky to use. It's not impossible. I'll put a link to that so you can download YouTube videos. There's one more I use all the time, and because sometimes J Downloader can't find the file. Let me see if I can find. It's called Video Download Helper. It's an extension for almost every browser. Let me see if I can find it. Video. I'm going to put a link to it. It's called Video Download Helper. Video Download Helper. Yeah, that's what it's called. Video Download Helper. Here it is here. Can you see that? This thing works really well. If you any web page, it'll put a little bubble up at the top, and you click on it, it'll find any file for download. It actually might need a helper file to the helper, but that's easy to install. So that one works really, really well. And looks like the guy still updates it. It was updated 2 days ago, so it's maintained. One thing you have to learn in software, if it's not maintained, you might have trouble. But you can download.
Well, over time, it will be deprecated.
Well, it's just because YouTube is always changing. You got to keep up.
Right.
You got to keep up. It's changing every day. They don't like people downloading because then they can't play their ads.
Right.
And it's all about money.
Yeah.
So you got J Downloader, you got Video Download Helper.
Maybe that's what I should have done with the Geoengineering lecture over germ warfare, is downloaded it and seeing if I still got the ads when I downloaded it.
Well, if you have a smartphone, you should use Podcast Addict and just add germ to your.
No, I don't have a smartphone. All I got is this laptop here. Come
Okay,
on.
all right. Now let's remind.
I got a cheap flip phone.
Oh wow! Now, if anyone tried to email me lately, I ran against some storage limits on my website, so they
because I sent you a
shut me
link.
down. They shut my site down for going over my budget. You see, they have about 10 metrics. If you go over any of the 10 metrics, they shut everything down.
Did they give you any kind of warning up front?
No, and I took for all day I was getting an error message. I didn't know why. Then I just dug into it while we were on our show tonight. And I have too much going on. They want more money. So I just deleted some stuff and it's back up. So,
Right, make some room. I sent you
so
a
it probably
link
bounced.
to a C-SPAN interview with the author of a book that's out called "The End of the Road: War on Trucking," or "War on Truckers."
Oh, I got that thing, and I think I saw that.
You might want to watch the interview.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I think I
but-
listened to it actually. Mhm.
Okay. I wondered what you thought about that because it's a fairly, I mean, he does a fairly comprehensive critique of the future of trucking, which he thinks is under attack.
But what does that mean? Every aspect of society is going to change no matter what with AI, and they're going to bring the robo taxis to Toronto soon. I know they're all over the U.S. right now.
He's concerned about how much training and certification have declined in his view, to the point where they put people to work on big rigs who haven't really been properly
Oh,
trained.
that's going on here. It's been going on for 25 years. That's commerce. I'm telling you right now. They have a couple crashes here and there, but it's just
It's a cost they're willing to
it's
bear.
just like the drugs generally. Remember, GRAS, generally regarded as safe. There will be casualties, but that's part of the program.
Yes, that's right. In any herd of livestock, there's always going to be a few you have to sacrifice.
That's right. People will die. We know that. It's sort of like Ford with the Pinto. Okay, people will die. We'll deal with each one case by case. We'll stall them. We'll try not to pay out, but we're not going to admit that these things blow up when people run into the back. That's
Yeah. But we'll also point out when it's fake.
yeah, exactly. Maybe all that was fake, but yeah. So my backup email. One thing I should not do is I should not have my email on the same server. So I'm thinking of maybe I'm going to change my email to another domain. But if you want to reach me on Gmail, which I don't like, it's I'm a fakeologist at gmail.com. So you got two emails. I'm at fakeologist.com or I'm a fakeologist at gmail.com. I don't like
Well, I'm
Gmail.
sure your Gmail's probably overloaded.
No, I don't really use it because
Oh,
no,
okay.
there's no, it's not overloaded. I'm just saying that when I attach my website to my email domain, it's not always a good idea. So that's what happens. So you might have got your email bounced today. I didn't get any email today, so now I know why, because they were all bouncing. But anyway, good show tonight. We had a good chat at the end. I appreciate that. So this is the end of the Fakeologist week. So now we're back to the weekend and we have the Discord. You guys should join shortfake.com/Discord. And you can come talk to the other fakeologists. Very casual. Anyone can talk. Lynn can come on if you want. Lynn's been there once or twice. I don't know. You're not back there. You haven't been back there recently, have you, Lynn?
No, recently, but I always like hanging out with the Australians.
Well, come on.
It's one way to hang out with Rick. Well, Rollo, maybe not Rollo, but Rick.
Rollo's not well. I think the alcohol's finally got to him.
Oh God,
he's not well, and
man.
Rick doesn't want to come on the show anymore.
Esoteric,
Yeah,
I should call him. Esoteric.
He doesn't want to come on anymore because he doesn't like debating people about chemtrails or contrails. He's all pissy on that. So yeah, he won't. So he's boycotting us again. He's very mercurial. So right now he's out of the orbit, and he is on another website talking all day long. So yeah, people come and they go. That's okay. We have an open door. We have a revolving door policy.
I have very warm feelings towards our Australian contingent.
They're great.
Because they've been so supportive from the very
They're
beginning.
great. I love the Australians. Yeah, there's way more Australians than Canadians. Canadians are completely no, they're just not there.
Who knows what's up with that? I mean,
Yeah, they're just not there. All right, Lynn, thanks for showing up. Now, so Sunday will probably be Prophet of Fiction, and I guess I'm gonna have to work on getting. I want to try and get this James Lee on. I might just call him. He has his phone number. Maybe I'll just call him on Sunday and see what happens. Like I called Mark Sargent.
we should reach out to as many new guests as we can get on.
Yes. It gets boring. The same old people. I agree.
Because we are a free speech platform. There's no censorship here.
Well, that's not true. I censor, but
yeah, you censor people when they get out of, when they get ridiculous or get out of hand.
I try. Well, you have to, because otherwise we'd be full of porn. And
I think one time I lost it and you were you were kind of muting me.
Well, I had to turn you down because people get.
I was yelling at Phil.
No, I think Jim really got butt hurt.
Oh yeah, well.
But you'll do it again. That's okay. That's why people listen.
I was thinking about Jim because I was listening to Farley Granger sent me. Was it Farley or no? Christine Whitehead.
Yeah.
Sent me an interview with Santos Bonacci.
Oh, right.
He's another
He's
Australian.
still alive?
He's in Mexico. He's living in Mexico.
Who isn't?
Right, exactly.
They're all going there.
And I can't remember now what it was that's what he said. That he said a couple things that I thought were kind of interesting, but yeah, now I've lost my train of thought on
Bonacci, he was the flat earther guy.
Yeah, astrotheology. He has a big interest in interpreting sacred scriptures of all religions as allegories for the celestial body, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets. And he interprets everything through that lens of astrotheology, which is interesting. It's one way to look at things,
Yeah, I'm all these flat earther guys. I'm just sort of.
But
I don't track them anymore.
But in the course of it, Santos Bonacci mentions that he was a Jehovah's Witness up until like 2005.
Oh, like Jim. Well,
yeah, and I'm thinking, you got it now. That explains a lot.
Everybody needs their own community / group, so
yeah, they're cool.
They really do. Like, humans don't operate well independently. They need a group, and
we can't all be Schopenhauer, can we?
Yeah, we can't. We need to bounce ideas off people. I'm in a trading group in the day. I'm in 3 different groups now. And
you're speculating now.
No, we're not speculating. We're just discussing what we're doing. But my point is, you need the community to bounce it off. You bounce off your ideas, and one guy might say that's a dumb idea. I do this. Well, no one ever calls out other people in that way. They just say, listen, maybe you should look at it this way. And it's sort of like our fakeologist group here. And we don't agree. None of us agree on everything, but we bounce the ideas off each other, and
right. We use the Maoist technique of criticism and self-criticism.
It's good. Yeah. And I have
that we learned from the Chinese Cultural Revolution.
Yeah, I don't need to change your mind. I'm not going to change my mind probably for most things, but I'll still listen and not go crazy. That's why I don't understand a lot of these truthers out there. They just don't accept other ideas at all. How can you be so sure?
Yeah, my mind has been changed because of this environment, principally with certain naive assumptions I was making about things like the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the rule of law in America. I increasingly that's becoming a fiction, a fantasy, a delusion.
It's just a model that no one's following.
Did they ever follow it? Was it ever really followed? Make America great again. When was it great exactly?
Yeah, exactly. It's always been an illusion and a mirage. But hey, it was worth sort of going towards, but just because we never
Nice idea.
Yeah.
Nice idea. If you
just
can
because we
put
never
the-
made it doesn't mean it was a bad idea. It just wasn't executed properly. And that's the same with everything we do. I think it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So, you're trying to get to here or there or do this or that. It's never going to be perfect. We're never going to get to the truth, but we're going to have a hell of a good time trying. That's why
until we hang all the lawyers.
yeah, well, you're going to call a lawyer when you're in trouble, aren't you?
I won't have any choice.
Yeah,
will I?
that's the club. It's a club. All right. Well, we're going to play out with
Steely
Steely
Dan.
Dan. Why not? All right, here we go. Ricky, don't lose that number. This is for Lynn and everyone else. Have a good night. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, everybody. fakeologist.com/donate. Take care. Bye-bye.
We hear you're leaving, that's okay. I thought a little while time had just begun. I guess you kind of scared yourself, you turned and run. But you could have a change of heart.